Excellent intro video from our great friend Stephen Peak, producing behind the scenes right now. Welcome everyone to a new episode of KSR's Zoom Action. This is our basketball breakdown show. As always, I am your host Zach Gagan, joined by my co-host Brandon Ramsey. Brandon, we have not necessarily a fun episode on. Fun is relative, I guess, but it'll be fun to talk about. But maybe the actual content of it'll be a little soul crushing for some. We're going to break down Kentucky's, or Texas A&M's, I should say, 27-3 8-minute run to end the first half of Tuesday's game down in College Station, where Kentucky looked great through the first 12 minutes, up 30-18. They were cruising, handling the press well, playing good defense, getting some shots to fall. Like, it was a very fun start. It looked like Kentucky might actually just blow them out. There was a point in this stretch that we'll talk about where it looked like Kentucky could have blown the doors wide open. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Texas A&M gets hot from three. They start to live in transition a little bit. That press forces Kentucky into a couple of turnovers. And then 8 minutes later, Kentucky goes into halftime down by 12. And it is just a tough pill to swallow, knowing that was the 30th game of the season. And that's kind of how things unraveled. You had guys in the post-game press conference saying that they were not focused. They got relaxed. Whatever, adjective you want to use, like it, just kind of inexcusable stuff to be happening at this stage in the season. But that's what we're going to break down today is the film from that 8-minute stretch. We'll try and go through it pretty quickly because I know Brandon and I did a 4-minute stretch breakdown earlier in this season that took a full hour. So we're going to try and not do that this time. We'll focus. I think that was the Alabama game we did that with.
Yeah.
So we'll focus on this. But Brandon, first, before we get into our first ad read today, how are you doing? What's kind of your general vibe right now with the Kentucky basketball team?
I'm doing okay. I think, you know what I've been saying all season long. Like I haven't let the wins change my opinion of this team. I haven't let the losses change my opinion of this team. And quite frankly, not to pat myself in the back, but I think I've kind of been right in doing so. I mean, it's been 2 months ago now where I said I thought this team was going to fall somewhere between 20th and 30th in the country. Over the course of that span, we've seen that
that's where they've been in KenPom the entire time.
Yeah, that they've been in that span in KenPom the entire time, essentially, and we've seen their upper level performances at Arkansas, Vanderbilt. Like, those are on the top end of that. They're that, like, maybe 15-20 even. Then we've seen, some on the other end of the spectrum. Certainly, those 7 minutes against Texas A&M, Georgia, probably the end of the Missouri game. So some of these different things, like, those are probably more 30-40. And as most things in life, the truth lies somewhere in the middle, a 20-30 team. And I didn't think all of a sudden we were going to go to a Final Four when we beat Vanderbilt. I don't all of a sudden think that we're going to be, one and done in Nashville and one and done in the SEC tournament because of what happened on Tuesday night. I just think this team, it's a roller coaster, and literally everything is on the table. This team can still make it to the weekend in Nashville. They could still make it to the second weekend in the NCAA tournament, or they could lose to Miami, Ohio in the first round. Like, none of it is going to really shock me at this point.
Could you imagine if UK gets matched up against Miami in the first round?
I would. I guess. I don't know.
That could happen.
It could be. Like, if Kentucky's a 7 seed or something, like Miami could be a 10, and you could be. Yeah, I mean, it would be something.
That would be something. My goodness. I didn't even think about that as a possibility until you just mentioned it. I think as a college basketball fan, a lot of people would love that. But as a Kentucky fan, you're just going to immediately think of how Oakland and St. Peter's and all those games went and just immediately think of stuff like that. So,
right.
But yeah, like you're saying, in that 20-30 range pretty much all season long, that's just kind of what this team is. They're a good team. They're not a great team. They're not a bad team. That's just who they are right now. But there were some things that happened in this 27-3 run that were a little bit concerning, especially at this point in the season. I think that's the main thing about the main context of all this is when it happened in game 30, a week before the SEC tournament starts. But before we do that, let's get into our ad read. So we've got two new sponsors for Zoom Action this month. So shout out to everyone, or all our friendly corporate sponsors, and shout out to Maria behind the scenes putting this all together for us. Big shout out to her for making this all happen. So Zoom Action will be our presenting sponsor for this month will be LG&E KU. They have one of my favorite ad reads because they sprinkle in some basketball talk into it as well. So I love that stuff. LG&E and KU knows that when the lights go out, it can feel like a full court press. And man, we are about to talk about a full court press for the next hour. But staying in the know is an easy win. Update your phone number in the LG&E and KU mobile app or in My Account. If the power goes out, you'll get play-by-play text from 454-358 with outage updates, safety information, and time estimates for power restoration. If you can't text, that's not a problem. They'll call the landline in your account with the same updates so you're never left in the dark. Because in the dark, there's no defense. But with LG&E and KU, you've always got a team working to get the lights back on and let you know the game plan. Update your number today at lge-ku.com/outages. Brandon, you'll also notice that there are no longer Dollar Tree blinds behind me because I have moved. I've officially moved outside of campus, off downtown. I'm out in the burbs a little bit, kind of past Cal's old house down Richmond Road there. That's how I
flex.
If you live in Lexington for a while, you can just say, "Oh, I'm past Cal's house," and people immediately know exactly where you're talking about. And I'm near the house that looks like a spaceship too. There might be some Lexington folks that know what I'm talking about as well. So not to give you pinpointed my exact identity.
You're going to dox yourself
over in that area. Yeah. Hey, if I didn't get doxed at my last place, I doubt it'll happen here. But one of my main frustrations with my last place was all the construction that I had going on outside and how it was just loud, constant for the last like 2 or 3 months. The funny part of that, and not in a ha-ha way, but more of a ha-ha look at his misery type way, there's construction going on currently right now in my backyard because a week before we moved in, a bunch of power lines underneath, 2 feet worth of dirt got messed up or something. So now there's construction crews that have been here literally since the day we moved in on Sunday. They're out there right now. I had the windows open. It was a great vibe outside with it being 75 in Lexington today. And then all of a sudden I hear all these trucks backing up. So I had to close all that. But eventually I will have some cool stuff back here. Me and my fiance are going to put up some stuff. So I actually look like Brandon's in an undisclosed location, but normally he has the cute setup in the back. And I want that setup. So we're going to get that hopefully coming soon. But enough rambling. Let's try and break this down, Brandon. So I have it all queued up here. So I'll set the stage real quick. Kentucky just scored off of Malachi Moreno, kind of easy, or like it was a tough score around the rim for him. They go up to 30-18, I believe, if the score will update here for us. Yes, 30-18 with 8 minutes left. So this is where A&M starts to go on their, or they're actually about to. So we'll just kind of let it play through right here. They missed this 3 from Clements, and then Kentucky goes the other way. And this is kind of like, I'm not going to put all the blame here on Trent Noah, but this is a big, important moment in the game right here where things kind of start to go awry. Kentucky gets themselves into a good situation here, good position where Ortega is able to find Trent Noah for a wide open 3. We know he hadn't made up until this point because he made some shots late in that second half there, finally to get some to go. I'm sure that was really good for his confidence, and they'll need that going into the last game and into the tournaments as well. They need his shooting, especially if he's going to shoot like he did in the second half. But he happens to miss this open one a couple feet behind the line here, but this shot does not go in. Makes that one. Kentucky's up 15 points. They're rolling. They have all the momentum in the world at this point. I think they were just on like a nice little run themselves. You go up 15 at this point with under 8 minutes to go. You're probably feeling really, really good. Unfortunately, that shot does not go in. Texas A&M runs the other way, and this is where things start to kind of go south. And it happens on something that Brandon and I have talked about constantly over the last couple of weeks with the 3-point defense and kind of just the lack of overall urgency, hand down, man down stuff. Like, I always forget your little saying, Brandon, but it's, you're not contesting, or you want to deter, not contest.
Yeah. Deter, don't contest. Yes.
Yes. And that's kind of what happens here. So Dominguez, I believe this is Dominguez, number 9. Yep. He's the guy that gets red hot. And I will say, coming into this game, I think I wrote it down, over his last 10 games or something like that, he was 14 of 55 from 3, shooting 25.5%. So has not been a great shooter at all coming into this game. But what Kentucky does is allows him to get a little bit of rhythm on a good, this is a good clean shot for him coming around the screen here. He's got a big guy in his face, but he's tall enough to get this shot up. Denzel Abernathy does not do a good enough job of actually deterring this shot here. He's able to get this shot to fall. Immediately, that's a 6-point swing right there from the Noah miss to this made 3. And then just like that, Texas A&M is off and running. So, Brandon, I'm going to pause it right here. I'm going to let you kind of talk for a little bit about what we just showed there. I do like that ESPN just has this, whatever this means, in the bottom left here in last minus 820-42. I noticed throughout this entire game that lower third was never accurate. They just were just throwing up stuff all day long. Like it was wrong most of the time. So ESPN, step your game up a little bit there. But Brandon, just your general thoughts on everything that led up to this moment right here where that 3 goes in and their run is about to begin.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough when you have a quick 6-0 swing like that. And like you said, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's Trent Noah's fault, I guess, because he's in there to make threes. But great shooters miss shots. It's not like it's not on him that this happened. There's a million more things that are going to happen that are going to be much more problematic than Trent Noah missing a catch and shoot three. We all want him to shoot that shot every time, or else there's literally no reason for him to be in the game. Now we can debate whether he should be in the game or not, but if he's going to be in the game, he should shoot that three every time. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, the fascinating thing about Dominguez's percentages is, you just rattled off the stat. He was 14 of his last 55 or whatever. Even with that being true, the dude was still over 40% from three on the season. Like, that shows how hot Dominguez was early on. I mean, he still came in to this game on Tuesday shooting over 40% with 75 makes. Like, if you think Colin Chandler's been shooting lights out, this dude still had 10 more makes on the season than Colin freaking Chandler. So, like, I get it. He's missed some shots of late, but when you just look at your scouting report, look at the stats, he's at 75 makes over 40%. That makes you literally one of the best shooters in the country. So, like, let's not get it twisted that, like, yeah, he was, kind of in a slump, but, like, he still was shooting so well that he's one of the best shooters in the country. And, like, this specific one, that there are going to be some threes to come that I'm going to get really aggravated about. This one is tough because it's the first one, but, like, it was also the most well-defended probably of the threes we're going to see. Like, is this perfect defense? No. Do I wish Aberdeen would get over that a little bit quicker? Yes. Do I wish that Malachi would step up, one step higher? Yes. But, like, and I've been the king of deter, don't contest, but this is a pretty darn good contest. I mean, Malachi's 7 foot tall. He has his hand in his face. This is a tough shot. Dominguez is now going to go on to make a couple that aren't so tough for him. But, especially with what we have to come, I'm not going to sit here and necessarily critique this defense a whole lot because, quite frankly, if Kentucky defended some things coming up like this, we probably would have ended up being okay. Unfortunately, this is like the best defense we played over the course of the next 7.5 minutes.
And Dominguez is also, he's a guy kind of like Yelovich, who played a bunch of games overseas. Like, I think on the broadcast, they said he had 150 career professional games. He's like a 22-year-old sophomore. Technically, this is his first college season. So he's like, in that same pro vein, but maybe like just obviously a much better shooter than Yelovich is. So, to your point, and it does feel like if you need a get right game to shoot the three, you kind of just play Kentucky. Like, that's because they're just going to kind of give you some open shots. Like you said, this one is a tougher one, but the ones that are coming up are a little bit more egregious, especially as he continues to make shots. It feels like the defense gets progressively worse with each make. So, so that one's tough to see go in here. And then let's see. So, and another thing I do want to point out here is there's been a lot to be made about I'll just let this roll, about how Otega-Owe and Denzel Aberdeen, like the lineup changes and stuff like that. There is a moment during this stretch where Otega and Denzel go out of the game, and I believe it happens when Texas A&M makes it 30-25, and then those guys go out for 70 seconds. Yelovich misses. Like, this is not a bad three here from Yelovich either. Like, he ends up making, I think, a shot just like this in the second half. So this is not a bad look by any means from him. Just doesn't get it to go in. But as I was saying, Otega and Denzel, they miss about 70 seconds. When they come back in, Kentucky is down 31-30, and actually Denzel scores right away to give Kentucky back the lead. And then it just continues to be an avalanche from there. So there might be something to say about the lineup rotations and how, when they were used and how they were used, but I don't think that that's really what killed Kentucky here, because those guys really didn't miss that much time at all, and they had opportunities as well. Like, they missed a lot of clean shots during this stretch that you'll see that it might have had a little bit of an impact. Like, maybe they don't score those 6-0 points when Otega and Denzel are on the bench, but hell, they probably do anyways, because they still went on a massive run when those guys got back in the game regardless. So you get that miss there from Yelovich. And then I think we get, I believe this is a miss here as well. And then they do this weird thing where he calls a timeout right here, going out of bounds. I feel like he could have saved that there, but whatever. So then they come out of this timeout here, and we don't get to see exactly what happens because ESPN just didn't care about the game at all. They score, and I know I'm just kind of running through it here. We will get to some breakdown stuff at some point, but so now Kentucky has the ball again, and I think we're going to get tough, like a Mo Diabate, like a probably a bad, not probably a shot you don't want to take is one that we're going to get. This is late in the shot clock. Kentucky's not able to really get any rhythm. They get a little bit of a paint touch here, but then you've had to push the ball back out. And then Mo Diabate's got a bad situation for him with the shot clock running low, and he just doesn't really have a right-handed shot at all. So he has to kind of force up a bad left-handed shot from the right side of the rim there. And then we get off to a run, and I believe we're going to get another three-pointer here from Mississippi State. Let's just let it play here. Let it play. Let it play. Boop, 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 boop. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Oh, some good defense here from Kentucky, letting it run down, letting it run down. Or yeah, you're going to get another Dominguez just base or like quick hitter right here. So, and this shot as well, Brandon, I don't know if this is like terrible defense. It's maybe a little bit too relaxed with, because I think it feels like there's a little bit of a miscommunication on the switches here between BG and Mo, and they just kind of give him this little easy bucket here. Anything from this play right here that really stands out to you about?
The only thing that was frustrating there was like, I don't know why Mo just ran away from him. Like there wasn't a screen being set there. Like, I don't know if he thought Dominguez was going to kind of try to turn the corner and like go for a left-hand layup. So like Mo might have thought he was going to run into BG and was trying to pre-switch a little bit. But again, I mean, the guy's a jump shooter. I mean, he's literally made like 10 twos on the season. So I get it. You're not overly concerned maybe when he has the ball in the paint, but Mo just kind of left him and let him shoot a wide open pull up at the SEC logo. So it was kind of weird. Like you said, there's probably some communication issues there, or Mo kind of getting caught assuming something was going to happen, and then, oh shoot, that's not what happened. But again, more egregious things to come.
Yeah, and then one of them's about to happen right here. So I think this is the only turnover Kentucky has out of the press during this 8-minute stretch. And it's just one of those where you're just like, you get the full kind of Brandon Garrison experience on this play right here, where I don't really know who I guess he's looking to throw it to Mo here, but Mo's kind of got a guy on him. Like, it's just, he's throwing in a double cover. It's just a really bad, poorly timed pass from him.
He punted it. That was a punt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, effectively punted the ball there. So that one was tough to see. And then I believe Texas A&M is going to get yes, they get an offensive rebound that leads to the ball foul right there. Then they get the ball again. And actually, before we continue going on here, I know we've been kind of all over the place, but I'm going to rattle off another ad read real quick. So we've got SeatGeek as our new partner, secondary partner for Zoom action this month. So we're excited once again to have the great team at SeatGeek, KSR's official ticketing partner in March. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports festivals, and more. We love using SeatGeek. I've got it pulled up right here. There are plenty tickets still available for the Kentucky-Florida game on Saturday, Senior Day, afternoon start. Rep should be popping. Kentucky really needs that win to kind of avoid that Wednesday spot. So there's plenty of tickets still available. You can sit for as cheap as like $100 per ticket for pretty good seats over there on SeatGeek. So that is all available over there. Then SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. So look for the green dots. Green means good. Red means bad. I know that from driving. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And we also have a special deal for you. Use code KSR10 for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with promo code KSR10. Download the SeatGeek app now and take advantage. Restrictions apply. Thanks again to the team at SeatGeek for helping us out with that. Brandon, let's hop back into the film here. I know we're going to get – so I think this is actually the moment where Owe and Denzel come out of the game, or at least maybe only one of them. So I think we've got do we have them both out right now?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the 7.
We've one starter in the game right here.
Yes. And admittedly, probably not an ideal time to have one starter out there on the floor. I do think we're probably at the point where you need 2 of the 3-headed goat, the Colin Chandler, Denzel Aberdeen, Ortega. You probably need 2 of them in the game at the same time at all times. But that's not what lost Kentucky during this run or anything. So, and I actually think they get, we'll see how everything goes here, but I think they get like a missed open 3, maybe on one of these upcoming possessions here. And it's not like they're generating bad offense or anything while Denzel and Ortega are out of the game. They're just not able to get shots to fall. And even when those 2 come back in the game, it's kind of the same thing. So the ball goes out of bounds right here. And then we get a good look for a Jasper Johnson 3-pointer on the corner here. he just doesn't get to fall. Like, so there's some things that, you can blame Kentucky for, but sometimes just shots aren't going to fall in. This is a clean look from Jasper. I believe he had hit a three. Did he already hit his three at this point in the game?
Yes,
Maybe he had.
Yeah, he hit his as we were building the lead.
Yes. So you get a good clean look from him there. Then you get a nice offensive rebound from Colin, and then it's just mental mistakes like this. Like, I don't really know who's to blame for this one. Probably both of them, just for the total miscommunication there. Like, maybe Yelly is supposed to stay in the corner there. He was trying to pop out to the wing. Colin Chandler they weren't connected right there. So that's tough to see happen. But again, this is good offense. You get a good shot here. It just doesn't fall. And then you kind of make a silly mistake to go out of bounds there. Brandon, anything you want to touch on there before we continue moving along?
I do want to just talk about the substitutions in the lineups for a second, because I know that's it's something that it's kind of easy to pile on about, because Coach Pope has had some issues over the course of the season with lineups, with some weird substitution patterns, and it has cost Kentucky, I think, at times, not having the main guys in there at the right times or enough or whatever. So I think, it's one of those things, like, you can throw that kind of blanket criticism out there, and everybody's going to kind of have your back because it's something that we're used to criticizing. In this game,
it just seemed worse in real time when it was happening here as well.
100%. But then, like, you go back and break it down, which is a lot of times why, some emotional tweets and decisions as the game goes on aren't always, the smartest and the most accurate. Like, here you have a situation, yes, were there 4 starters on the bench during part of this run? Yes. It was for 4 possessions in about 70 seconds. Now, is 4 possessions in 70 seconds too many? In hindsight, yes, it probably is. Now, there are some caveats to this as well. Denzel Aberdeen had 2 fouls. He had just played like a 5-minute stretch already with 2 fouls. Bottega always coming off of a long stretch. So, like, I get it, especially once it's 27-3, you say, screw the fouls, keep Denzel Aberdeen in there. I don't care if Bottega always tired, keep him playing. But, like, in the moment, you still have a 5-point lead. You're trying to make sure Denzel doesn't get 3 fouls. You're trying to make sure that, you're keeping Owe fresh. So, like, in the moment, it doesn't feel like it's that bad of a thing. And also, let's face it, the world shouldn't end when you put your subs in. Like, there comes a point where it's like, well, as much as we all want to ride or die with these guys as many minutes as possible, like, you can't play 5 dudes. I don't think any of us are saying that we should just play the starting 5 for 40 minutes. So, if playing the backups for 4 possessions means that you're going to lose a basketball game, then boy, we got a lot of other things to worry about than the substitution patterns. So again, yes, is 4 possessions too many? Sure, I get it, but it was just 4 possessions, and it's with extenuating circumstances of Denzel Aberdeen having 2 fouls. So, and then we're about to get to a portion where the starters are back in the game, and the worst run of it all came with the starters in the game. So it's like, we can only point the blame here so much without it just being just wrong, quite frankly. I mean, this was equal opportunity screw-ups. So some of them came from the staff and Coach Pope. Plenty of them came from the bench. Plenty of them came from the starters in this game. And I looked at the box score after the game. The starting 5 unit played however many minutes they played. It was the most used lineup, and they were, I want to say, like -10, -13, something like that. Like, it was also the worst lineup of the game. So, I just think it's misguided in this instance if you just want to, throw a blanket statement at the wall and said, well, Coach Pope screwed us over by, his substitution patterns. Boy, when you go back and watch it the way we're watching it, I think that's hard to defend that take.
Yeah, 70 seconds with your 2 starting guards out shouldn't result in your team just kind of falling apart. One thing I will kind of add that Yelovich is technically a starter. So there's technically 2 starters out here, but over the last however many games, 3, 4, 5 games, like, Mo has he's been playing more minutes and kind of been closing the games anyways. So, I mean, Mo's more effectively the starter right now because he's the one closing the game. So I think that, you can bake that into it as well. But, and another thing is, like, kind of the injury thing is still real, man. Like, to Pope's credit, like, there's 3 guys on the floor right now that weren't supposed to be on the floor, like, there were supposed to be other guys, Jaden Quaintance,
Right.
Cam Williams, and Jalen Lowe, that are supposed to be able to, kind of supplement those minutes and help things out a little bit. So, we're that talking point is, we're long past that, just because of how long they've been out, and this is kind of the team they've had together. So, like, those guys, at the beginning of the season, didn't expect to be playing at this moment in this stage in the season, but here they are. They've played a decent amount of college games. Jasper's the only real freshman out there. And he's gotten plenty of run. He's been able to have big moments in the SEC. So you shouldn't be able to still fall apart, kind of how they do here in this moment. So, but we'll continue to go along here, and push through our. Let me see. I think we got another Texas A&M 3-pointer coming up. I know there's one 3-pointer from Dominguez that you were not going to be a huge fan of, Brandon, for the bench's reaction. I believe is.
It was actually a Griffin 3, but yes.
Griffin 3. Okay, the Griffin 3. Gotcha. So let's let this possession play out here. See how this goes. This one here, I mean, what can you really say about this one, Brandon?
What a tough one it is. I mean,
yeah,
like again, if you're just like super locked in and super urgent, which yes, it's March. I wish we were, and championship teams would be. Newsflash. Not a championship team this year, especially Brandon Garrison on the court. So, like, yeah, would I love Brandon Garrison to just be like so locked in that Dominguez catches this ball and he's like, "Oh shoot, I got to get up into his jersey." Yes, but again, even being the guy that's deter, don't contest, not the worst contest here. But you've already got Dominguez to see one go in. Now he gets another one. He's in rhythm. He's feeling it. Like I said about the first one, the second one, the ones to come are going to be much more bothersome than what we've seen so far. But again, like this is part of why you can't turn it over on the possession before, and like why you need to be able to nip it in the bud just a little bit more, is because like guess what? A really good shooter started making a couple tough shots at home. Like not the craziest thing to ever happen. Just Kentucky needed at some point here to be able to stop the bleeding, and it very obviously all we did was like shove the knife in deeper and start waving it around, and blood's going everywhere.
I like that analogy. Yeah. So and he had Dominguez before hitting this one had just hit 2 like rhythm shots, like shots that are very comfortable for him. I'm sure you probably want BG to be like a foot closer at this point. Yep. And maybe just try and make this a tougher shot. But I mean, like there is too much space here, like he should be just a little bit tighter up there. But again, it's a tough shot. Brandon Garrison pretty much like lands on him when he's done with his release. So there's only so much you can do, but it's compounding mistakes that just quickly added up over and over and over again. They were able to beat the press here pretty quickly down the back line. Then we've got this shot here from Trent, and I've kind of seen various opinions on this shot. I'm not necessarily like, I think it was Tom Hart or whoever it was on the broadcast, Jimmy Dykes. They were I think it was Jimmy Dykes said like, why would you shoot that shot? Like it's a bad shot. I probably like 60% agree, but there's 40% of me that's like, boy, if this shot went in, like, like it's not a terrible look. Like if Trent Noah hadn't missed every shot in the entire month of February, like you're probably really happy about that look, because that's kind of a Pope shot. Like a Pope offensive shot is like a quick beat the press. You get one of your good shooters in a position from a wing, like a good a spot they like on the court to shoot. Just doesn't go in. So Brandon, do you like that shot or not from Trent?
No, I don't. And here's why. Probably 2 reasons. One, time and score a little bit. Like I liked, quite frankly, if it was 30-18, like the last one, I mean, the first one that he took, you take this shot every time, like you're rolling, you have a shot to really, step on their throat a little bit. Yes, you shoot that one, but like here, things aren't going well. They're already on a 10-0 run at this point. They just sprayed in another 3. Like you have to stop the bleeding by getting a really good shot here. And let's face it, the other part of this is, I know he ended up hitting a couple later, but like as he goes to attempt this shot, Trent Noah is probably shooting like 31% from 3 on the season at this given moment in time. So we're not talking about Colin Chandler letting it fly. We're not talking about Denzel Aberdeen letting it fly. Like I love you, Trent. I hear that the Noah shooting system thinks that you are very, very good, but the games make me think that you aren't the shooter that you're said to be. So I think in this situation, if you're going to let one fly 7 seconds into the shot clock, A, you better make it, or B, you just better live to fight another day and let's get a really good shot. Can we get a paint touch? Can we get a post touch? Can we get the ball to the rim? Can we get, a Colin Chandler or three, whatever it may be? Like, I just think on a 10-0 run, you need something that's not this quick, because now you just kind of feed into what's happening. The floodgates continue to open, and they're about to hit another three here. But I will mention one more thing before we go forward. Another criticism of this stretch, along with the substitutions, which we, hopefully debunked a little bit there, timeouts and the use or non-use of a timeout. I talked about this on the board and on Twitter after the game. I think after Dominguez hit that last three that we just watched to go 30-28, like, that's probably the first opportunity where you really could have, in my opinion, called a timeout, because there it's a 10-0 run. He's hit two of them. You kind of start to feel this thing slipping away. Like, if you want to be critical and realistic, like I've seen some people say, like, well, I would have called it as soon as it was 30-21. Like, well, like, really? Like, we just went on a run and they scored once. Like, oh, I would have called it 30-25. Okay, I get it, but like, there was a media timeout at 30.
Yeah, I was about to say it went into a break anyways.
Yeah, so there was a media timeout at 30-21. So like, you would have called it after they scored two more times. And like, let's not forget, Jasper Johnson got a really good look in there. So it's not like you're not doing terrible offensively. You're just not scoring. So like, to me, 30-28 was the first time where I could have said, yeah, when that ball went through the net, could Mark Pope have stepped out on the court and said timeout? Yes. Obviously, in hindsight, he probably wishes he would have too. But then also, it happened one possession later. After this next three is when he called a timeout. So again, like, if you're criticizing the substitution patterns, what you're really criticizing is those four possessions in 70-second stretch where Owe and Aberdeen were out of the game. If you're really criticizing the timeouts, you're talking about 3 points and like 22 seconds of gameplay between when you would have called the timeouts. Like, I get it; those things matter ultimately in games that you lose. I'm not discrediting the value of 3 points here or there, or a 6-point run or a couple minutes on the. But like, what you would have done in hindsight and what actually happened on the court actually aren't, like, they're not volumes apart from each other. So I think some of those criticisms, they just start to get real hindsighty.
Yeah. Well, especially when you see how this play ends right here, that's when you're like, okay, maybe it would have been nice to call a timeout. But again, hindsight, whatever. But this is just some poor transition defense here from Kentucky. They allowed Dominguez, who had just hit all these shots, to get a wide open shot from the right wing. Trent gets there late. He hits that three. That's when Pope goes in and calls his timeout. A&M takes the lead. So that was the first, like, real kind of egregiously open shot for Dominguez, or at least, in the stretch that we've looked at so far. But that was a killer. Like, that was a tough shot. Leads into a timeout here. And then Kentucky brings back in Away and Aberdeen. So again, now you've got the three guards back in, the three starting guards. And now I think we're going to see, like, pretty much like a decent amount of open misses from Kentucky. Like, I think Colin Chandler, after Denzel scores here, so that ends the drought. That ends like their 10-0 drought or 13-0 drought. Yeah, Kentucky takes the lead. And then it just kind of everything falls apart again. They do end up missing a couple of open threes, or a few open threes Kentucky does. Maybe at some point they should have tried to get into the paint more often, but they just didn't, and that's how it worked out. So you're going to get this one. This one's a bad one from Ortega, man. It really is. And it's like, it's the dichotomy of Ortega Away. Like, this is the bad side of it, because he just kind of waltzes his way around this screen. Like, this is bad defense right here. Everyone, I think, in the gym, coaches included, know that Ortega needs to be 2 steps closer to Dominguez here. And then not really a real contest either. Just kind of a wide open shot. And that's like when they were talking about being too relaxed and like not focused and stuff. Like, that's that play right there is a perfect example of it. Like, Kentucky was just not focused on the defensive assignment right there. It was too lazy getting over the screen, and it ended up being just a real easy shot for Dominguez, who's now hit, that's what, his fourth shot that we've already covered from him. And I think he hits another one, maybe two. Like I said, Kentucky's gonna get some good, like, not bad offense here. Like another open Yelovich three from the top here. Brandon is frozen. I don't know if that's me. Hopefully we're still live. Everyone's still live over here? Hopefully we are. If we're still live, please let me know in the comments, because Brandon is frozen on my screen, so I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, so as we continue on here, Yelovich gets a pretty clean look at this three-pointer. It does not go in. He really bricks it bad, honestly. Like he made another one in the second half to kind of get himself in the field. But he's had two of those clean looks just in the stretch that we've been covering here, and neither of them have gone in. So yeah, it sounds like I'm flying solo, says Captain Crash. So let's see how this goes, folks. Let's see if we can get Brandon here. Let me text him real quick. Let's do this on the fly. All right, here. Hopefully I'm still okay on my end here, but we'll continue on here. So just an unfortunate miss there from Yelovich. It continues to lead things out here. And then Dominguez has the heat check of all heat checks right there. Oh, Brandon, are you back? Oh, he was back, I thought, for a second. We'll get him back here. Don't worry, folks. Yeah, so then Dominguez gets the heat check of all heat checks here. Thank goodness this one does not go in. So this one is another miss. Kentucky has an opportunity here to try and get themselves back going. Brandon, how are you? Welcome back, buddy. Yeah, I was like, oh gosh, did we have another situation where our feed just cut to black again and everyone left? But no, I think we're all good. So are you good? Are we live? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So basically all you missed was Dominguez taking the heat check of all heat checks and missing his shot right here. Here, I'll just play it back for you. Yelovich, Captain Crash says, you were dragging me down, Brandon. Hard to disagree, Captain Crash, let's kick him out of here. Well, we need to get Captain Crash and Holly to just kind of run this show themselves next time. They can do it next week themselves. Honestly, well, depending on how the games go, we might want them to do that. So Yelovich misses another kind of open three from the top of the key. Shots that he's made, not a bad look at all. I don't have any issues with that shot personally. Maybe it's a time and place thing again. Maybe you try and get to the paint a little bit more. It's whatever. Dominguez misses his heat check shot. Kentucky, it doesn't really matter with Yelovich ultimately because they're able to get back down and go the other way. So I'll let this play out here. I think this is where we're going to start getting some Kentucky misses. I think my video is lagging a little bit here.
Malachi gets fouled here eventually.
Malachi gets fouled. Yes. And then that's another just kind of unfortunate thing. Malachi, 70, 80, 75-ish% shooter from the line over the last however many games, had actually been doing really well from that area. Just goes up here and bricks both these. That's, I don't know what else you can say other than look at that shot. That one went in the basket and then pops right out. You're talking about centimeters of being off right here where he's able to miss these free throws. This one just doesn't go in. That one clanks off the back iron. And then Texas A&M was able to get the ball going the other way. So, you get a good look, you get a good opportunity at the basket. You should probably get at least a point out of that. You don't. That's just how it goes. And then Texas A&M is going to come back down here. And I think we're probably going to get.
Here's my,
So Ryland Griffin is a 42% three-point shooter coming into this, or he is currently. I forget what he went in this game exactly, but he hit a couple. This shot goes around the rim 1,000 times and goes in. But Colin Chandler does go under the screen. A good screen set by Texas A&M's guy there. He's able to create himself enough separation. But Colin Chandler does go under the screen. It allows Ryland Griffin to pop out and have, pretty much a clean, it's about one of the cleaner looks you'll get all game. And it goes right in. And the bench, the coaches just kind of sit there and stare, as Brandon, I'm sure we'll want to talk about in a second. But actually, Brandon, just go for it. What'd you hate about this?
I don't like when Colin Chandler goes up through on a 40% three-point shooter and just lets him flare it into an easy three. That's certainly not a new mistake for him. But the frustrating part for me is, as somebody who watches the game the way that I do, is that we got 7 guys over there wearing those white quarter zips. One of them's the head coach standing there with his hands on his hips. 6 of them are assistants sitting with their hands folded in their laps like they're at church. It's hard to watch this because a couple things that are kind of equally disturbing come to mind. One is like, are they like, do they not view it as a mistake for Colin Chandler to go up through? Since they don't react, I'm left to assume that maybe they're not mad about it. And like, that would concern me as a fan if we are coaching them to go up through the down screens on a 40% three-point shooter. That would go against everything that I've ever learned about basketball and scouting opponents. But when they don't react, it's hard for me to know, like, well, maybe they don't. Like, it's great that Brandon Ramsey thinks he made a mistake, but who cares what Brandon Ramsey thinks? Like, if they don't think it's a mistake, then like, well, okay. Then like the other disturbing part would be like, do their basketball minds not clock it in real time? Like, do they not see, literally, do they not see and like comprehend that he went up through the screen? It happened right in front of them. These are high major Division I basketball coaches making a lot of money. I'm going to assume that they processed that just happened. But again, when you don't react, I'm forced to wonder, like, are they processing what's going on? And like, I'm not saying that everybody has to be, Tom Izzo or Mick Cronin or some of these guys that go,
Please,
just absolutely absurd on people. But like, I would like to see somebody stand up and like, hey, Colin, chase him. Like, if nothing else, just so that we all at home know that like we're all on the same page here. Because I like, again, when we sit here and we have these Zoom action shows and we try to break down the film, it would be nice to know if we're just kind of screaming into the void because like maybe Kentucky's telling him to go up through this because I can't tell that they're upset about it. So like we sit here and spend 15 minutes breaking it down, but like maybe it's what they're supposed to do, and then there's nothing we can do about it. And like that's why I don't want him to scream and yell just for the sake of screaming and yelling. Like I want him to scream and yell so I can know what I need to be mad about as an analyst. Like I don't even know what they're being coached on because I can't tell when they do something wrong because nobody reacts to it. And that part is frustrating, especially when it happens so often, game after game. In this is possession after possession. It's like you would think. I mean, I can only imagine what my blood pressure was from 30 to 18 to 37 to 32. So like, are they not as angry as I am? I know they are. Like I'm not actually questioning that because they're the coaches. Like they feel it 50 times more than you and I do. But like, boy, would it sure be nice to see it every once in a while because now Texas A&M is on a 17-2 run, and the people on the sidelines seem to be unaffected by that, and that rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, and I mean, admittedly, it's a little nitpicky. It's something that only like a coach, a former coach or like someone like you that would kind of notice. But because you do know that like like you said, they're seeing the exact same thing. They're seeing the exact same mistake from Colin there. So they're thinking about it. But is it something they're just being told? Like, hey, like we got to just keep all the emotions tucked inside. Like we're not showing anything from the bench or the sidelines. Like occasionally you'll see like Jason Hart kind of get up and go at somebody. Mikhail McLean might do it every now and then. But really, like, for the most part, they are just kind of stoic and sitting there and, kind of, blank faced. I don't, like I said, I don't know if that's what they're being told to do by Pope, but there's a reason for that. Because you have to think that, I mean, it's obviously these guys, they know what they're watching. Like you said, like,
right.
They're fuming under there. You'd have to think. So like, I do think there's a benefit to having your coaches show emotion and be up in your face and kind of telling you what's wrong and what's right and things like that. But
it helps you not make the same mistake again, I would think. Like,
yeah, I'm sure that like
yelled at me and said, "Hey, chase Riley Griffin, chase Dominguez," I might be a little bit more likely to do it the next time instead of watching the same crap again and again.
Yeah, and you would think that like all this stuff is being relayed in timeouts and things like that and breaks, but then you come back out and you get kind of the same stuff happening again. So it does make you just, especially this probably wouldn't be any bit of like a talking point if Kentucky was 25 and whatever instead of 19 and 10 or 11, but these like when your team is up and down and going through stuff like this, where you're on a 27-3 run, like it is like, come on, man, someone be pissed about this. Like, let's be upset.
I mean, you've lost the benefit of the doubt, and like,
Yes,
I think
that's a good way to put it.
Anybody that's watching this show, I mean, heck, probably the criticism I get the most of online is that I am too
sunshine pumper,
too slow to criticize the coaches. Well, like, has anybody been more directly critical than I just was for the last 5 minutes of this staff? Probably not. And I'll still get called a sunshine pumper at some point today and tomorrow. But like, yeah, like, yes, I wouldn't be doing it if we were 25-5, like you said. But when I see it game after game, and then I see the mistakes the same game after game, and it's impacting wins and losses, then it's like I'm left with no option other than to ask those difficult rhetorical questions.
And now we're just going to kind of let things play out here, and we'll talk over it as we go. So Texas A&M is going to score 8 more points. They're going to go on an 8-0 run to finish these last 2.5 minutes. And I think I want to say we
did score one, Zach.
Yeah, we get one more free throw. Yes, Malachi gets a free throw. You're right about that. But there is a point, like, I think Colin Chandler gets at least 2 like pretty wide open shots at a 3 that don't get to go in.
Malachi gets
like,
a layup here.
Malachi gets this shot here. Yeah, so like this is a great shot for Colin Chandler, man. Like this is a shot he's made 1,000 times, just doesn't go in. So like, what can you do? Like, but then transition defense, they struggle a little bit there. They allow there was a handful of transition buckets from A&M going out of stuff like this. Anything you want to touch on there, Brandon? We're kind of at 46 minutes, so I'm like,
yeah. The one thing I'll say real quick there, yes. That's a perfect example of, like, you got 2 really good shots on that position.
That was a good offensive set.
You have your 7-footer shooting a layup over their point guard. He happens to miss it. He rebounds it. He kicks it out to one of the best shooters in college basketball, one of the hottest shooters in college basketball, certainly. He misses an open 3, and then they go lay it up. Like that's just a tough turn of events. I will say again, kind of touching on some of the big criticisms coming out of the game about timeouts. With this little swing here, maybe the second, like the only time you could have maybe burned a second one is right here, where it now starts to get away from you a little bit more. Like it's now 39-32. Like we got a problem here. We're down 7. Maybe you call your second one there. But again, it's tough because you just got 2 great shots. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't too long ago Malachi Moreno misses 2 free throws. Nothing you can do about that. Now Malachi misses a layup and Colin Chandler misses a 3. You're only 2 minutes away from the half. And again, like in the moment, nobody's ever thinking about, well, what if this extends to 27-3? Like,
right.
I mean,
what if this goes
as
worse as humanly possible? Yeah.
Right. So again, like it's really tough to do the timeout talk in hindsight. But like, if you want to be critical, maybe this is the spot that you could have used it. But man, that's tough in the moment. Proceed.
It is tough. Yeah, especially because it was Colin Chandler, man. Like just
another layup.
I think Malachi gets fouled here. Or, no, maybe not. No, just another miss at the rim for him. Something that is not necessarily abnormal for him. So like that's another opportunity for easy shots there. Again, it just doesn't go in. So you can't time out your way out of that. Like you just got to make the shots. So as you can see there, 21-2 run over the last almost 6 minutes at this point. And now we're going more pick and roll offense here from Texas A&M. Tough shot. I mean, I think is that Rylan Griffin that shot this one?
Yeah.
Like that is a tough shot. Like maybe Colin can put his hand up a little bit more on that one, but like those are shots that he kind of likes. Rylan Griffin, who was a Kentucky target, by the way, back in the portal in the offseason. But yeah, he hits like that tough little baseline jumper there. Not much you can do. Kentucky's able to get the ball across half court eventually here once Jasper finally does and set themselves up into their half court offense, which, like we said, up to this point hadn't been bad. They were just missing the shots that they were making in the first 12 minutes of the game.
We're going to see another one here.
Yeah, so I think this might end up being another Colin Chandler missed 3 here coming up.
Yeah, this one is wide the heck open.
Yeah, and there it is right there. So this is like Kentucky's been really good at these out of bounds plays over the last however many weeks, like probably the last month, honestly all season long, but it feels like we've just been noticing it more over the last however many weeks. But this is a great play. You get Colin Chandler running from the opposite end of the floor here to the baseline. He's got his defender way back. Malachi Moreno does a great job of screening off both guys. It's a wide open corner 3, and that one toilet bowls its way out. So again, what are you going to do? Like, the shot is just a great shot, just doesn't go in. Like, that's good offense right there. And then again, they go back into their pick and roll. Texas A&M does, and I believe this is a foul here on Mo, who, boy, he loves to reach on those drives, doesn't he? Yeah. He's big on trying to reach in there and get trying to get off easy steals. Doesn't get it. And then you've got Aggie, I think is his name, Aggie. He hits one of those 2 free throws, or 2 of them, or one of 2 there. Yeah. So then now 10-point game with a minute to go. Kentucky's back in their half-court offense. I forget exactly what happens here, to be completely honest with you.
But Otega Oweh wide open miss J right here.
Yes, and this is Otega's bread and butter, this shot. Like, it's not my favorite shot for him necessarily, but I prefer this one over the pull-ups, where he's just like kind of a one-on-one and likes to step inside a foot and then take a pull-up. Like, this is coming around, like curling off a screen right here. This is good. Shot. This is good offense. Like, you got yourself in a good spot here. Like, this is a shot that Otega will make 50% of the time, probably, maybe a little bit higher than that. It just doesn't. Well, he actually bricks it really poorly. So at this point, I think like the mental fatigue. I shouldn't say fatigue, because people are going to think I'm talking about all the Pope comments on it. But the mental fatigue of just like the fact that you're just getting boat raced right now probably is setting in a little bit at this point. Like, man, we can't buy a bucket. Colin Chandler just missed 2 wide open threes. Otega's missing, bricking wide open jumpers. Yes, maybe a point to call a timeout. Then you get another foul and an and one here. Just more pick and roll stuff from Texas A&M. Like, they were just living and breathing doing that stuff, like trying to do quick hitting offense and get themselves in position to score here. So that's an and one right there. Brandon, we kind of rattled off a bunch of stuff there. Anything you want to hit on before we dive into this last 40 seconds, last 2 or 3 possessions?
Just the big pictures. I mean, essentially the half's done here. I mean, Malachi goes 1 for 2 at the free throw line. Yeah, that's all there is that's left. But again, like, part of what's tough about that stretch, and again, like when you're talking about the substitutions, the timeouts, all these different things, you in this last stretch there where it was pretty bad, where it really ballooned from a 4-point lead to a 13 or a 4-point deficit to a 13-point deficit right here, ended up being 12. Like, Malachi goes a total of 1 for 4 from the free throw line.
Yeah, Malachi misses, guy who'd been hitting all his free throws too recently.
Colin misses 2 wide open threes. Otega Oweh misses a wide open elbow jump shot. Like, again, we're not asking to be perfect, but like
Yelovich missed 2 wide open threes from the top of the key.
Yeah, and a little bit earlier on. So like, we're just saying like, okay, if Malachi makes a couple more of those free throws, if one of those threes from Colin Chandler goes in, if one of those Yelovich threes goes in, if Oweh can make the jump shot, like, just half of those things switches in your favor. Like, we're not even talking about changing anything defensively now. At least it would be 45-39, 45-40, something like that. And I guarantee you also, just because it's the way things work, if you would have scored on a couple of those, well, how did they score a couple of their buckets? In transition. Right. Guess what doesn't happen after made shots? Transition. Also, let's face it, guys are just a little bit more locked in if they just made a shot than if they didn't. So, like, you probably get one more stop if you make a couple of those shots. So now all of a sudden, 45-40 becomes, 43-40. And like, yeah, it stinks you gave up the 12-point lead, but like, it's a heck of a lot more manageable going into the second half at 43-40 than it is 45-33. So to me, that's what, is hard about this. Like, yeah, we can nitpick the substitutions and when you could have called timeout and all these different things you could have done. But like, at the end of the day, you had some of the same looks in that stretch that built you the lead. It just didn't execute in your favor. And while that was happening, the home team, who's desperate to make the NCAA tournament, they had some things go their way with making a bunch of shots, a couple of which were pretty tough, as we talked about here. So yeah, I mean, there's no way to defend a 27-3 run. Like, we're not sitting here defending it in any way. It is an all systems failure. It is embarrassing. It is awful. You shouldn't give up a 27-3 run to like Transy wouldn't give up.
I can't remember that ever happening for Kentucky.
Yeah, like it's unheard of. It's unacceptable. But there are like pieces along this that like show how it did happen or why it did happen, and it's not just because of like complete coaching negligence or something like that. I mean, they're just some stuff didn't go our way. Every single person involved could have done something better to stop the run from happening, and it just didn't happen. I don't know.
Well, we've talked for the last 50 minutes now, and over this 8-minute run, Kentucky probably only took one bad shot attempt, and that was that Mo Diabate layup on the front, trying to
That
shoot
and
with
then
his left
whatever
hand.
you decide on the Trent Noel kind of quick three.
Yes, that one as well.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of go back and you can talk
Right.
yourself into that one at least being a good shot. The Mo one
Right.
was whatever. So really only 1.5 bad shots for UK, and then really only 3 or 4 open shots for
Mhm.
Texas A&M. Kentucky had a couple just kind of rim out. So like literally like Kentucky's a couple inches away from this being a 5-point game at halftime. So, and like you said, it's not defendable because Kentucky still let all this happen. Like they could have been closer on some of the defensive plays. They could have done better in transition to prevent some of these leak outs. They could have just made, Malachi could have gone 3 for 4 at the line instead of 1 for 4. Colin can just hit one of those 2 threes. Like the game can change completely with just minor things happening. But that's just, basketball that's kind of what you love about it, is it just can happen like that. Like teams that don't necessarily deserve to go on, and I'm not saying that Texas A&M didn't deserve, but just in general in the vacuum, teams that may not deserve to go on big run, like a 27-3 run can, because of small things like that. And what's funny about how this half ended is Texas A&M is about to get the widest shot of the entire game right here to close the half, and they miss it.
Yeah.
So I don't like like this is a wide open shot here, and he barely he bricks it. Pop Isaacs does. So like at some point, that's just how it happened. It sucks.
Make or miss game.
It's a make or miss game, and that's exactly that rung true in this one. Pretty unfortunately for Kentucky. So yes, that was the long way of saying that stunk. So and Kentucky did show a little bit sign of life in the second half, towards the end there, but it was kind of a little too late thing. Like A&M probably let off the gas a little bit. If basketball games were 45 minutes instead of 40, maybe Kentucky comes back and wins it, but they don't. So that's how it went there. But Brendan, let's go ahead and kind of just look ahead here to Saturday's game. So we haven't even touched on the fact that Kentucky just blew out Vanderbilt 6 days ago at home in a game that they led pretty much from start to finish, a team that had beaten them by 25 points a month before. Like, you want to talk about 2 different teams within a span of 4 days. Like Kentucky has literally played 2 different brands of basketball over the stretch of 4 days, one really good, one really bad. So, if these results were flipped, if Kentucky had been embarrassed last Saturday by Texas A&M and then went and beat Vanderbilt by 14 on Tuesday, we're probably looking at this game on Saturday like, man, Kentucky could really go in there and they could win. They could beat Florida. They could lock up a double bye still somehow. So all of that, nothing has changed, with how the results are looking ahead based on the last 2 results, regardless of when or how they happened. But I think just the fact that the win happened first, the loss happened second, that lowers the vibes going into this one. But it is senior day. You're going to get Ortega away. Denzel Aberdeen are going to get some much-deserved praise. Same with a couple of walk-ons and Walker Horn and Zach Tao, I think. Talk about Walker Horn's career, man. Like 4 years, 2 years at Cal. You get to play with Reed, Rob, and Antonio Reeves. Then your next year, or the year before that, you played with like Oscar Sheboy. Then you come in first year of Pope. You get to play with Kobe Bryant and Amari Williams. And then you get this whole thing. Like, talk about a very weird 4-year career.
I think I saw
Horn.
something that he's had like 46 different teammates or something like that.
I believe it. Yeah.
That's really cool. Like, especially for somebody like him, think about the connections that he's going to have for the rest of his life. He's going to be selling insurance somewhere, and
he's going to be a coach. Pope thinks he's going to be a coach. He says his dad's the coach at NKU. So his dad is Darren Horn. He's the coach at NKU. He was the old coach at Western and at South Carolina. I think at Western he was good. South Carolina not so much, but he's been pretty good for NKU over the last however many years. So I wouldn't be surprised if Walker's just sitting on the sidelines again next year as a GA or something like that. Yeah. Then Zach Tao's going to the law school. So some cool stuff from those 2 walk-ons there. But yes, Ortega and Denzel, they'll all go through their paper hoops. They'll get a big crowd, big applause from the Rupp Arena crowd. Are you going to be at this game, Brandon?
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm going to buy my ticket on SeatGeek.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks for the shout out there. Okay. Give me your general quick hitting thoughts going into this matchup against Florida. We've kind of talked about it off camera coming in. They're on a 10-game win streak, the number 5 in the country. They're beating teams by an average of 23.2 points per game over this 10-game stretch. But as we kind of talked about as well, I'll lay it a little bit more before I let you go. 4 of their wins, 2 came against South Carolina, 1 came against Mississippi State, and 1 came against Mississippi. Those are 4 games against non-tournament teams, essentially. And there was some good wins sprinkled in there. It's like they beat Kentucky, beat a ranked Alabama team, beat a ranked Arkansas team, but they haven't beaten top 20 teams. They're kind of just beating who's in front of them, and to their credit, they're smashing the teams that are in front of them. They're still not shooting great from 3, but they pretty much do everything else at an elite rate right now. So they are still arguably the hottest team in the country coming to Rupp Arena. They don't have necessarily anything to fight for other than trying to maybe get a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're going to be the top seed in the SEC tournament. They got the double bye. That's locked up. All the momentum should be on Kentucky's side, and the desperation should be on Kentucky's side going into this game. So I do think it's going to be and Kentucky matches up well enough, even though Florida has a massive front court. They match up well enough that you think that Kentucky should be able to make it close, similar to what it was down in Gainesville, until Klavchar hit 1,000 threes, wide open threes, which I do fear could happen again, because we just talked for the last hour about how Kentucky was giving up open threes. But just your general thoughts on this matchup, Brandon, as we look ahead to the regular season finale. It's already here.
I was down in Gainesville for that game when Kentucky played Florida, and I left the gym being slightly encouraged, thinking I think we can win this game at Rupp Arena. Now, again, I'm the first person to admit what you ever think this team will do, a lot of times they can do the exact opposite. You think they're going to get blown out, they'll go find a way to win. You think they're going to win a game, they'll find a way to choke it away. But I don't think this is an unbeatable Florida team. We saw Kentucky compete in different stretches very, very well down in Gainesville. I think that Kentucky should have an advantage in the backcourt in this game. If you don't let Xavier Lee come out and hit 4 threes, if you don't let Urban Klavchar come out and hit 5 threes, you'll have an advantage there. Now, yes, you'll also have a disadvantage in the front court. We all know that Florida probably has the best front court, certainly one of the 2 or 3 best in the entire country. They are special. It is a problem. But I do think that hopefully the timing of this game is in Kentucky's favor. A little bit of that is that Florida has a lot of things locked up. Maybe they'll be, 5% less locked in, and maybe that's all you're going to need. Like I said something to my dad the other day. Like I think does Florida having locked everything up, is that worth 5 points? Maybe. So like that could turn a 4-point loss into a 1-point win. I'll take it. But then I think also I would hope that Kentucky spent a lot of time kind of getting yelled at in the film room over the last 48, 72 hours. I would hope they've seen Dominguez spray in threes left and right, Griffin spray in threes left and right. I hope they've gone back and watched the Florida game and watched Klavchar spray in threes as you're trying to come back.
Those were wide open, man. Those were
wide
terrible.
open. I mean, those were some of the worst, most frustrating ones of the season. So hopefully you're in a position where some of those things are going to be top of mind, and you're going to find a better level of urgency when it comes to taking away some of those things against Florida. And then you'll get the vibes of senior night. Hopefully, if you can get big games from Oway and Aberdeen, the crowd's going to be behind them. I would have felt so much more comfortable with this game if we would have won at A&M, because it would have truly been like a house money. I really don't even care what happens in this game. Now, I mean, I still don't really.
They lose. They're probably playing on Wednesday.
Yeah, which is going to stink, but there's only so much we can do about that. Like, Florida is better than Kentucky. Do you want me to sit here and get mad if we lose? Like, I get it,
Right.
Gold standard, all this stuff, but I'm just not going to be that upset if we lose to Florida on Saturday, because they're a national championship contender and we're not. But boy, would it be just awesome if we could end with a win here, get some vibes going in the right direction, going into Nashville, going to the NCAA tournament. Because I do. Yeah, I mean, are we going to accomplish Kentucky level goals? Are we going to accomplish the goals that we had before the season? No, we are not. But are there still fun times to be had? Yes. Like the build up to March is what is fun. Like going down to Nashville and having the unknown of, can we win an SEC tournament championship, is fun. And then you go play the games and see what happens. Like having the lead up to the round of 64, to the round of 32, to the Sweet 16. It's fun because you never know what could happen. And I hope that we at least can all still come together as BBN and embrace the what could happen part of March, and we have 3 guaranteed games left. Hopefully, several more than that, and we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna be following them every step of the way from here on out. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully we can make this at least a somewhat fun March, and maybe something that we'll look back on and see like, hey, this team surprised us in the end.
And they've surprised us like 6 different times already this season, so why not, both good and bad. So why not like have another good one, a good surprise left in there? I think that was the first time I heard it said out loud that there's only 3 guaranteed games left. And that's kind of sad. This, like the season obviously has not gone as anticipated, but I love watching Kentucky basketball, man. So as frustrating as it's been at times, it is sad to see things kind of coming to an end here. One question I do want to pose to you: Walker Horn and Zach Tao, they probably don't start, right? They probably don't play at all.
I hope they don't start, Zach. Even back in my coaching career at the Division III level, we said from moment one we were not going to start the starters. Like, these games are just too important. I'm not big on that tradition, especially when they're walk-ons. Like,
I think Cal was able to do it because usually the last game of this, like a lot of times, like Florida would be the last game of the season stuff, but like those were games that Kentucky knew they were going to win. They'd already locked up all this seeding stuff and things like that. So like, but this game didn't have the implications are too big probably to play those guys.
If it works out to get them in, like, normally if Kentucky's up or down 8 with 30 seconds to go, like normally you wouldn't sub in that situation. Sure, let's throw them in and then take them right back out so everybody can clap for them. Yeah. But boy, I'm gonna be mad. I don't even really want to say that because like it's not fair to them. But like,
what happened last year? I'm trying to remember.
We started all kinds of people last year. I think I might have started.
Well, that's right. Yeah, because half the team was 6th, 7th year players at that point. I think there was one guy who wasn't a normal starter who got maybe like Ainsley Almanor started the game last year. And then like came off pretty quickly, but a little bit different circumstances this year because the walk-ons are the seniors this time around. So
let's just let's win by 15. Let's let them play. I hope they both score.
Yeah, I think that should be the goal. Like if you're their team, it's be like, let's get these 2 guys in. Let's just beat the hell out of Florida. So by the time there's 30 seconds left of the game, we can put them in and be comfortable and even let
Todd Golden cry.
Yeah, make him cry. Let Walker Horn shoot a 3 falling into the Florida bench or something. Like, come on, that would be awesome. That would be hilarious for so many reasons. All right, well, yes, big game. So I don't have the exact scenarios on hand because it's like the Charlie bit from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's got the massive whiteboard and he's trying to figure out all the scenarios. Like, it could go so many different ways. Like, Kentucky's not in a good spot with a lot of the tiebreakers is the issue. So like, even if they lose to Florida, there still is a chance that they can play on Thursday. But they don't own a lot of tiebreakers, and the teams that would need to lose are the teams that are going to be favored. So it's going to be tough in a loss to kind of stay out of that Wednesday spot, but it is possible. So just win and you're in. That's really the main thing. Like, if you win, you avoid Wednesday entirely. You'll guarantee a single bye.
On the table.
Yes, you're guaranteed a single bye with a win, and you, with some help from some other teams, you can get that quadruple or that quadruple bye. Goodness gracious.
That'd be sweet.
Straight to the championship game. That'd be awesome. The double bye there. So, because I think there's like 5 teams that are all 10-7 in the SEC.
Still a logjam, man. Yeah.
It's crazy.
That middle of the pack of the SEC has, we've just been, as the kids would say, we've been mid all year. It's been a bunch of mid teams.
Yeah,
I don't think they even say that anymore, but that shows how.
Yeah, they've moved on. That was so 2025, dude. Yeah, okay, so let me actually pull it up here before we go away. Let's see. We got 4 teams at 10-7. You got Tennessee at 11-6, and then you got Georgia and Texas right below at 9-8. So there are 6 teams effectively kind of fighting for that final double bye. It's probably good. I mean, Tennessee has to lose, obviously, and then. Well, no, I guess Georgia and Texas can't get it. So there's 5 teams kind of fighting for that last spot there. But yes, it's kind of a mess there in the middle of the pack. So all these teams are pretty much guaranteed to get in the tournament. Like, I think the SEC is still going to get 10 teams in the tournament, maybe more. But not nearly as top heavy as it was last year, where they were all 1s and 2s and 3 seeds. It's going to be a lot of Florida sitting up top, and then a lot of 4 and 5 seeds and down. So yes, just a big game, man. Just got to win. You win, and you can kind of put yourself back in a position to I mean, also that bumps your seed up. Like you win this game, you're going to go from what if they're a 7 seed right now, that gets you to a 6 seed. Pretty
absolutely.
So big implications all around for that game. 4:00 Eastern time on ESPN at Rupp Arena. Senior day festivities will start probably 15 minutes
Vitale
early.
in the house.
Who? Dick Vitalis? Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay, who's he with? Do you know?
No.
Okay, doesn't matter. We got Dickie V, so that'll be fun. It'll be an awesome game. But from Zach, from Brandon, from our sponsors of LG&E and KU and SeatGeek, this has been another episode of Zoom Action. We'll see you all next time, hopefully after a fun Kentucky win on Saturday.